Hello and welcome to a short tutorial on the Dock to Bleed feature. So when you have opened the Printess application, just scroll down to the very bottom here and there's some design tutorials. So I open the universal layout example. So you should do that as well. And when you now switch to the buyer side, so we have some very different products, like for example the mug and the canvas. These both examples have one big difference. So a canvas has a lot of bleed around the edges. So that's the reason why we picked that example. It could be anything with bleed, whereby the mug has just no bleed at all in the printing area. That's a very simple single-sided mug here. Let me just start with a single image. So when I apply an image which has a border around, that doesn't make any difference between the mug and the canvas example. When I go back to the mug and apply the full size image here, it will actually stretches to the borders of that printable area. But when I do the same thing with the canvas here, it stretches, the frame stretches to the entire bleed. So we better see this when we upload an image. So here the image stretches over there. In the mug example again, when we upload an image here, it just fills the side. So that's a very important feature you have, and it really doesn't matter how many frames there are. I can also take one of these layouts and have it inside the bleed area, but in the canvas example I'm actually have the image everywhere. So what's important here is you do not want to build this set of layout snippets or layouts for each and every product. You want to reuse them across different products. So going back to the designer, we create a new template with any size here and just do this by ourselves. So pretty simply select the image frame, and even if we don't use the splitter feature, which actually shares a lot with Dock to Bleed, we can now go to position and turn on Dock to Bleed for that image, which nicely will automatically place this image on the four edges of our document. For this tutorial, to see it better, I will change the pasteboard color to white and increase the frames in the bleed area. So when I go now and increase the bleed to 1 centimeter here, the image automatically stretches to the bleed because it's set to Dock to Bleed. And very interestingly, if I change the aspect ratio of the document, for example, it's still an A4 size, so let's change the orientation to square, our image still docks to the bleed of that new orientation. So that's the beauty of that feature. It automatically adapts to the document size. And it only occurs to edges which it connects to. So let me show you that. So first of all, we remove the bleed again because it works with and without bleed. So let's put them to 0 centimeter here. Now select our frame and just make it half the size. Now we have a situation where this frame docks to the top, to the left, to the bottom, but not to the right side. So when I'm changing my orientation now of the document, you will see that this is still not docking to the edges. Even if I change the bleed to 1 centimeter, it will definitely go to the bleed on the sides where it docks. So that's the Dock to Bleed feature. Wherever a frame is actually touching or being in the negative area or on the bleed area of a certain page, and this feature is turned on, it will adapt to format changes, which is extremely handy when you think about layouts and layout snippets where you want the layouts to fit to your target document. It's also extremely handy when you have resizable documents, like for example a canvas or any kind of product which changes its dimensions when the user wants this. So thanks for listening. Have fun with Dock to Bleed. See you next time.